So honestly, this could be the most important Diablo 2 video I have ever made in my entire YouTube career. I get asked it quite frequently online when I'm streaming, and that is, Phil, how do you avoid the Diablo 2 burnout? So I do want to mention, as we jump into the video, I put a lofty goal for myself. We're over 34,000 subscribers now, and I would like to get to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It's going to be a tough ask, but if you want to check and make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe up to the channel. And hey, help me out a little bit, hit that like button for me as well. Now, for those of you who don't exactly know what this term would mean in regards to playing Diablo 2, everybody knows that there's an incredible grind, whether you're doing your ladder reset and you're playing through the game, trying to get all those high runes to make the gear you're really searching for. Sometimes you just gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta grind in order to get that gear. If you do this repetitiveness over and over and over again, running the same areas, doing the same thing, you'll get something called burnout, where the game just does not seem fun to you anymore. How does Sweet Phil avoid burnout? And I'm giving you tips and tricks that you can try in order to keep that love of the game alive. The first one has several different parts to it, so it sounds super basic when I say it, but make sure you listen to the next parts of this particular one, and that is, don't play too much. Make sure you don't overdo it. Now, I know you can feel pressure to get out there and grind and grind and grind too much, particularly at the beginning of a ladder reset, but don't fall into that trap. If you are playing the game when you don't really want to, just in order to try to keep up with everybody else, that's going to give you a big problem. That's when the game ends up turning into feeling like a job, and most people already have full-time jobs. They got tons of work they got to do around the house and kids and all that good stuff. So don't turn something you love to do into a second career that you don't actually get anything out of. And to kind of continue along with that, don't be afraid to take a break. You don't have to completely give up the game forever, but you can take a week or 2 or 3 break, play a different game, maybe not play games at all, or do other things in your life, other hobbies, spend time with your family and friends, things like that. So don't be afraid to take a long weekend and go camping with your friends and with your family or anything like that. That is probably one of the most important things anyways to me, is taking these little breaks, these little weekends away from the game. Another thing that's specific to answering the question of when people ask me, how do I avoid burnout, is I don't really play the game as much as people probably think I do. They see a lot of other people streaming and stuff, and I'll see people streaming 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I don't know how they do it, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, but there's no way I could do that. When you add up how much I really stream, 2 or 3 hours at a time, maybe like 4 days a week, I really only stream 10 to 15 hours a week. And when I'm streaming, that's almost exclusively the only time I'm playing the game. So even though I have a Diablo 2 channel, I put out daily videos and I stream about every other day, actually playing the game is about the same as some people play the game in one single day. So that would be the main reason how I avoid burnout. I don't play as much as y'all think I probably do. The next one here is change up what you're doing. I know a lot of people can fall into the rhythm of making that Hammered or making that Fist of Heaven's Paladin now, doing those sorceresses or something like that, heading out to Chaos Sanctuary, doing Bale runs, and they just repeat, 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 repeat. Or maybe one of those people that like to make that Javazon and just go cows, 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 trying to get those high runes. Now, those are the best places to get a lot of the best stuff in the game, but just because it's the best place to get the best items doesn't mean it's the best thing for you to do every second of every day that you're playing Diablo 2. I highly recommend changing it up, even if it's not the best build, even if it's not the best area. Do something a little different, challenge yourself in a little bit of a different way. Myself, for example, I've been doing the Stony Tombs with the Fire Druid. It's not the most optimal build, it's not the most optimal place in the entire game, but a good change of pace is always nice to have once in a while. A couple different ways you can change it up is really just try one of the different types of endgame that there is in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, it's gonna blow a lot of people's minds, but there's actually an incredibly large amount of endgame in Diablo 2. The one thing that people don't realize, it's just not a guided endgame. But what's the difference between playing a game on Xbox and what the endgame is? Getting all of the Xbox points, completing all the jumps in Grand Theft Auto, playing through each mission without firing a single bullet so you get an achievement, or maybe on some of the newer Diablo games, you grind and grind and grind, just keep doing greater rifts or whatever over and over and over and over again. What do you really get from that? You don't really get anywhere. But it is technically guided. It's what they push you into doing in the end game. So people feel that Diablo 2 doesn't have an endgame just because the game isn't telling you what it is to do. There's such a vast amount of things in Diablo 2 that you can do. It's part of the reason why I'm kind of like in the anti-change guy camp. Even though I've been playing the game for many, many years, there's so many things I've still never even tried, and I just don't want them to change it before I get a chance to do it. Some of those things obviously could be like being on Battle.net and getting all maxed out characters with perfect gear. You could try the 99 grind one time. You could go to single player and try to do yourself a holy grail, which for a lot of people, unless you play like 18 hours a day, could literally take you years. You can try to be an expert speedrunner. You can try and see how good you really are at the game, maybe by doing PvP or playing the game through on hardcore. You could even make up crazy challenges like Macro Bio Boy that just did his pacifist sorceress speedrun, which took him like, what, 40 hours or something like that. There's so many different little endgame type things that you can do in Diablo 2. So maybe pick a different one besides just doing ladder reset over and over again, grinding the Chaos Sanctuary and Bale runs, trying to make your Enigma and Infinity and Hoto. There's so much more stuff to do in Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I feel like you're really limiting your fun by just sticking to that one thing over and over again. And I kind of mentioned it for a quick second, but this one comes down specifically to me, and that is going on single player and doing the Holy Grail run. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this is where you try to find every single unique item in the game, and you could even combine it with trying to make every single rune word in the game too. Now, some of these uniques are incredibly rare, some people going their entire lifetimes without finding some of them, and the runes are very similar. Considering that the Zod rune, I have never found it, and you've seen a few people lately post how they found their first ever Zod rune in their life, people who've played a ton of Diablo 2 in their day.
What? Yo! That's my first Zod ever!
So I'm gonna come with the last one here. It's probably the easiest, simplest one to do that will help out literally everybody. And it's one thing that I absolutely love to have in order to make the grind even better and make the game even more enjoyable while I'm playing. And that is that I picked up a second monitor. Now you're thinking, oh, now you're gonna tell us to go out and spend a bunch more money, Phil. You do not have to do that. Just get yourself a second monitor at, name the resale shop, the Salvation Army, at St. Pete Joseph's resale shop or something like that. You can literally walk in, get some 19-inch monitor for like $20, maybe even less, and hook that up to your computer. Then on your second monitor, you can have music going. You can even have videos going and stuff like that. You can watch any type of YouTube video while you're playing. The options are literally limitless what you can have going over there. You could even pop on a Netflix show and be half watching it while you're out there grinding. It will really add to the enjoyment because you're doing multiple things that you like at one time, and it will keep you from getting bored if you are stuck in a pattern of grinding the same thing over and over again. So in my opinion, this is something that literally anybody who plays a lot of Diablo 2 should do, and if you haven't, you really should. Go out and get yourself a second monitor. So I'd love to hear from you. Head down in the comments and let me know what you do to avoid the dreaded Diablo 2 burnout. Don't forget, like button, subscribe up, and get that bell notification turned on before you go. Peace out, fellas, and don't forget, keep slaying.